So thank you, dear students. So the question will be like this: the make tag questions of these statements. So and in every questions will carry 1 marks. So it will be carry totally 5 marks here. So dear students, I know this is very easy one, and among the 11 items, you know, this is very easy one. But when I taught you, when I took the classes on the rules of tag questions, perhaps so far I can remember, I told you some techniques how we can answer this question very successfully. But before your remembrance, to remind you, just I am going to tell you the gist first, so that you can remember the rules very easily. So far I can remember, I told you that to make a tag questions, totally we need 4 things. To make a tag questions, we need 4 things. Number 1, after a statement, we must have to give a comma. And then I have to take an auxiliary verb and then subject, and then we have to give a questions mark. So dear students, so why it is easy? You have to do only 4 things to make a tag questions, but among them, after a statement, comma, and after the subject, a note of interrogation is must, and there is no I think exception here, and this is common. So in the exam, out of that 4, so you have to do only 2 things, because 2 has already been given here in the questions. So I have to take an auxiliary verb and a subject. So dear students, you know it completely, but I am telling you again for your better understanding. So how we will take the auxiliary verb from the statement? You know it completely. If there is any auxiliary verb in the statement, that particular auxiliary verb I have to take. And if there is no auxiliary verb in the statement, then I have to take do, does, or did as an auxiliary verb. And you know, if the statement or the auxiliary verb in the statement, if it is in an affirmative form, we have to make the tag into negative. But if the auxiliary verb is in negative in the statement, I have to make the auxiliary verb in the tag in affirmative. So just we have to do the opposite one. So this was our main target. This is the focusing point. And I must have to copy the subject of the statement in the tag questions. But just one thing we have to remember, the subject in the tag question always be in a pronominal form. Pronominal form means the pronoun. So the subject, that particular subject will go there, but the subject always will be in a pronominal form. So if the subject is in the noun form here, then I have to use the pronominal form in the tag questions. So dear students, I would not like to lost my time here, because you know the rules very completely, and you know there are some particular rules to take the auxiliary verb here and to take the subject here. And I hope, as I took 2 classes on tag questions, and the classes are in our website. So if you have forgotten anyone, though I hope that you didn't forget it, because all are easy, but if you forget, please search the class again, and if you watch the class, then you can remember everything. So dear student, let us start the how I will write down the answer. So most of the students who fail in English don't have a strong foundation over grammar. So here what I told you, there is no auxiliary verb here. So I will take we have an auxiliary verb, don't have. So it is in the negative, so I will use here in the positive form. And who means, that means the antecedent is here the students, so it is in the plural form, the pronominal form will be they. So then I can write down the answer, do they. So this is very easy. They read only to pass the examination. So there is no auxiliary verb. I will take do, does or did. This is in affirmative, so I have to write negative, and this is they, so I will write don't they. Perhaps you are understanding everything very easily. So teachers should motivate them to learn the basic things. So teachers, this is in the plural, and this is auxiliary verb and in affirmative, so I will write down here shouldn't they. Also number 2, what I forgot to tell you, if the auxiliary verb is in negative form in the tag questions, I must have to use in the contracted form. You are not allowed to use the full form of negative of auxiliary verb here, because this is an informal English. These are the informal use of English. So in the informal English, we cannot write down the full form in the negative of auxiliary. I must have to use the contracted form here. So they can't help learning grammar. So they can't help, this is negative, it will be affirmative. So they can't, they. Moreover, practice is essential too. So practice is, so isn't, it will be the pronominal form of practice, it will be it. So it will be isn't it. So dear students, now let us see the answer, how you will write down in the exam hall. So dear students, in my previous classes, I told you that you have no need to copy the text, copy the context in your exam script, but in this item, you must have to copy the questions. If you just write down the answer in your exam script, you will not get any marks, because as you have to make tags on these topics, on this statement. So if you just write down do they, how I will understand whether you are right or wrong? So the rules here, you must have to copy the questions and you have to write down the answer in this way, right? So when you will write down the answer, you may underline your answer so that the teacher, the examiner can understand very easily, right? So don't forget to copy the questions. Now, to copy the question, you must have to copy the questions, and just you are seeing here, you will write down answer to the questions number 9. And you will write down like this, A, B, C, D, E. So the one it was. So dear students, I hope you have understood, and you will practice at home more and more. And I have taken these class today only for taking the class, because I know you have no problems on these topics. But as I am taking the class chronologically, as I have taken the class serially, so to maintain the serial, in my last class I took the classes on question number 8, so I have taken this class on question number 9. So as it is very easy, so I hope you will do better, you will prepare yourself for better, for the coming SSC examinations. And I hope, I pray to the Almighty Allah, He will be with you always, and He will help you to take better preparation for your coming SSC examinations. So dear students, again I would like to thank you, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.